All right, so I teach health and physical education at Lincoln Middle School, and we went one-to-one this fall. And overall, I think it's been a great experience. There's lots of things that have changed over time. Obviously, the instruction that I'm able to do on a daily basis has changed because I have access to computers. Prior to the initiative, I did not have access for a full classroom set of computers. We had carts that were split up, one for every grade level, and then we had an iPad cart. But my students, I had 30 to 34 students in a classroom, so I never was able to have a full set. I'd have to check out two carts at the same time, and it would be for an extended period of time, and everybody was fighting for computers, and it made it very difficult to implement technology in the classroom. Some of the things that have changed is I've had to spend more time teaching the students how to use the device, with specifically towards the applications that are available, and that's been difficult to lose my content time as we work through just the learning curve of learning something new. So that's been frustrating where I've lost a lot of time in regards to what I'm able to cover in the content area. But I also knew that would be a part of it. I am able to differentiate more with the process and the delivery of instruction, which is wonderful. I have so many different level learners. I average, 2 to 6 EBD students in my classroom. I have high and low learners, all intermixed. And I don't have aides in my classroom. So being able to differentiate to make sure all learners are being challenged is something that's been wonderful. A lot of times it's just through simple creating choice boards and creating different video options that students can choose from to watch as they work throughout the unit. The students have really, really enjoyed having that option as well. All lessons can essentially have technology, so something that I used to have to do is plan way, way in advance, and then usually that plan would change, and then the carts would be checked out, and all kinds of headaches that would come with that. So in the moment, in the lesson, I can adjust as needed, and we can be using that technology if the lesson actually takes that route. So that's been really, really fun to be able to do. Student learning is, it's changed because students can work in that moment through technology if needed. Something else that's been a wonderful, wonderful aspect of having the one-to-one ratio is that students are more organized. In the past, middle schoolers aren't exactly great at that. They're still learning how to become organized. Having everything in the iPad and teaching them how to use the iCal or Notes or whatever program that has been adopted with the grade level has been wonderful to keep them organized. Also, the use of Moodle and Edmodo has been happening in our schools as well as in my health classes. And they're able to keep and house everything in one location, so they always know where to go to. Another part of teaching middle school is students are pulled out of regular classes all the time for band lessons, as well as just being sick and pulled to the office for whatever reason. Having Moodle as well as Edmodo has allowed the students to have access to whatever lesson was being taught while they miss class and get caught up on the information. I've also had students where they'd ask me for a link and they just wanted to show mom and dad or watch it again at home because it was funny or they learned something or they wanted to learn more about that topic. So having those tools that you use in the classroom available to the students 24/7 has been a wonderful aspect of going to that one-to-one ratio, because all students, they peak at different times of the day, and maybe they do learn better at 9 o'clock at night and they could access that information then. Some unexpected things from all of this would be obvious proper use of the device. We've had some concerns with students just not knowing what to use it for, specifically YouTube and this Flappy Bird epidemic and Skype. Those tools, are great tools and Flappy Bird isn't, but Skype can be a great tool in the classroom. Same with YouTube, and just using those programs responsibly has been something that we've been working on with the students. The biggest concern is what do we do when the students lose their device? for not using it correctly. So we have to, as an instructor, be ready to have the paper copies or have them work with a neighbor on items when they don't have their device with them, and that's caused some problems because we make the assumption that everybody will have their device at all times. And for the most part, the students want their device. They are up in arms when they use it and are very upset. So that doesn't happen as often as we thought it would. Some other issues, we find amazing resources available on the computer and then they don't work on the iPad. So that's one of the hurdles that we've had to face, where you find it, then you got to test it, and then it doesn't work. Then you got to go back to square one and try to find something new again. And that's been a very time consuming issue in regards to from the teacher aspect. One of the things that has been causing parents and students some confusion and frustration is that all content areas and grade levels are doing different things and using different programs. So having something that's more consistent in areas would help students. They learn a program, they learn it well. Kind of a less is more principle would help students as well as parents as they go down this new way of learning. And then obvious screen time concerns. When we first rolled out, I think, and as a PE and health teacher, I'm very concerned for this, but when we first started, everybody was using it. Students, you could see by the end of the day, their eyes were hurting. We were having headache issues and just kind of struggling with being stuck in front of that screen all day. So different behavior concerns came up. But as we as a staff started figuring out what works and what doesn't work, trying to find that balance throughout the day is really, really important. So if you are going to be spending a lot of time on the screen for your class, then what's happening prior to your class and after your class for that student? How is that day balancing out? And trying to communicate amongst staff with that. Overall, I would have to say that it's been a very, very positive experience for me through all the frustrations. What's best for kids is having access to information. And by going one-to-one, they now have access to information, even in health and in physical education. In physical education, I've been able to use QR codes to differentiate with my students. I've been able to use Edmodo to have tests on, so it's more of a flipped classroom. They can go outside of the classroom and take the test on the content that we've been working on. And then when they're in the classroom, they're able to move and work towards the standards that we've been working at. So although that screen time is there, it's not happening during that class time period. So other than that, it's been great. Thanks for your time.